The Federal Bureau of Investigation, a.k.a. the American Stasi, the Department of Injustice, the Biden White House are in full cover-up mode, ladies and gentlemen. And here's the breaking news. New York Post. Pull it up here. The FBI has refused to give Congress an informant file alleging that President Biden took bribes while he was vice president, the Post has learned, setting up a possible showdown over access to the information. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer issued a legally binding subpoena last week requiring the FBI to turn over the file by noon today. But the FBI instead replied with a 6-page letter raising various objections. Information from confidential human sources is unverified and by definition incomplete, wrote FBI Acting Assistant Director Christopher Dunham, who also argued that informant reports must also be kept private to protect sources. Well, I would say this to the FBI and to the frauds and the phonies that work there at the top levels. It's more important to know if our president is a crook, or to at least expose him as the crook that he is, than to worry about your damn sources and methods. Because so far, your sources and methods are to target President Trump and protect Joe Biden. We're well familiar with your sources and your methods. Screw your sources and screw your methods. The fact is, Joe Biden and his family are crooked. It is a crime family. They've been using his name to pour in millions and millions and millions of dollars. Not from allied countries, but from rogue genocidal nations. Communist China at the top of the list. The Bidens have accessed millions and millions of dollars. And as the Republicans said this morning, what exact business do they run for all this money that they received? What is it exactly causing these governments to give them money? Well, we know what it is. Joe Biden has been in Washington, D.C. his entire life. And he's a crook. He was in the Senate 6 terms. He was vice president 2 terms. And he finagled his way into the Oval Office, where he sits right now as putative president. The media have barely reported this story, America, because the media are in on it. They are the true American Pravda, the true arm, mouthpiece, other parts of the body, of the Democrat Party. What we learned today was extraordinary. We learned that a complex web to cover up the receipt of millions and millions of dollars, especially from the Communist Chinese, was set up by the Biden family, and I assume the lawyers for the Biden family. Multiple LLCs. Now, LLCs are perfectly legal. The point of an LLC is to protect somebody's confidentiality. But the point of an LLC is not to create shell corporations to receive foreign money and to wash the money through the shell corporations to get into the hands of 9, count them, 9 Biden family members, including 3 grandchildren who no doubt had nothing to do with this, but they were used as pawns. Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, Jim Biden's wife, Hunter Biden's wife, Hunter Biden's ex-wife. And there are more. They can account for approximately $10 million. Peter Schweitzer says we're looking at $31 million. And everybody is wondering, what exactly did the Joe Bidens do for this money? Why exactly would they be giving this money? Other than the fact that they were buying access. And so the White House says today, you can't demonstrate that Joe Biden did a single thing for the money. And my response to the White House is, well, then make your client available for deposition. And let's dig into what he did. And if he's an innocent man, given your tepid defense, he shouldn't have a problem with that. Now, should he? Well, separation of powers. But Joe doesn't care about separation of powers. Joe's been busy writing legislation with executive orders throughout the 2 years of his presidency. There is more evidence of corruption in the Biden family than there was ever evidence of sexual battery by President Trump. Because there's no evidence whatsoever. And none was presented at that trial. None. Zero. But back to the crime family. The FBI does not have a right to stand between us and our knowledge about the President of the United States. The FBI is not even in the Constitution. The FBI does not have constitutional powers. The FBI is corrupt. And it has no right to stand between Congress and getting information. Getting information on Joe Biden. They say, well, the information's not reliable. No, the FBI is not reliable. We will leave it to Congress and the American people to determine what is or is not reliable. In the meantime, you use the FBI to get a warrant and conduct a SWAT team investigation of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago. Use the FBI to seize the iPhones of attorneys for President Trump. You use the FBI to violate attorney-client privilege. Use the FBI to shake down witnesses. You've used the FBI against Paul Manafort and Roger Stone. You use your crazy-ass activist judges to do the same damn thing. And now you tell us sources and methods. They're worried about sources and methods. I am not. That 1023 form, we want to see it. The American people demand to see it. And the FBI and the Department of Justice, under the most corrupt attorney general in modern American history, all of American history, do not have the right to prevent us from seeing it. The cover-up must end. The cover-up must end. Bank records show the Biden family received $10 million of payments from China and foreign interests. The House Oversight Committee, cut one, go.
We want to discuss information the committee has learned since our last press conference in November. New information investigators have uncovered regarding the transfer of money from foreign entities to the Biden family. Many of the wire payments occurred while Joe Biden was vice president and leading the United States efforts in these countries. First instance, while Vice President Biden was lecturing Romania on anti-corruption policies, in reality, he was a walking billboard for his son and family to collect money. Hunter Biden and his associates capitalized on a lucrative financial relationship with a Romanian national who was under investigation for and later convicted of corruption in Romania. The Bidens received over $1 million for the deal. And 16 of the 17 payments to their associates' account that funneled the Bidens' money occurred while Joe Biden was vice president. In fact, the money stops flowing from the Romanian national soon after Joe Biden leaves the vice presidency.
So the question is right here and now, to Joe Biden's White House lawyers. Why did the Romanians give $1 million to your family? Simple question. Where's Maggot Haberman? Where's Jeremy and his Peters? Where's Philip and his bump? The great New York Slimes that covered up the Holocaust. The great New York Slimes that was the mouthpiece for Stalin. The great New York Times that promoted Castro. Where are you? Where are you? You're nowhere. Bunch of frauds and phonies. Go ahead.
Pattern of influence peddling. This appears separate from any payment Hunter received from his work connecting this individual to a U.S. law firm.
What explains it? $1 million. For what? Wow. Wonder what George Conway thinks about this. What do you think about it, George? More. Cut 2. Go.
They also couldn't explain why the Bidens received over $1 million in 16 different wire transfers over a period of 3 months to at least 5 different banks.
Stop. $1 million in 16 different wire transfers over a period of 3 months to at least 5 different banks. Do you know why they did it that way, Mr. Producer? To try and conceal the size of the payoff. Otherwise, there's no need to do this. 16 different wire transfers for $1 million over a 3-month period with 5 different banks. Why not just $1 million in one wire transfer to one bank? Because the flags, the pots and pans, the alarms, they all would have been banging and going off. That's why. Go.
The president, when confronted with this information, said it wasn't true. Instead of being honest with the American people, President Biden...
Now we know it's true. These are the actual records. So Biden says the actual records are false. But the actual records are true. Go ahead.
It's a 2020 election that his family has not received money from China. That was a lie in 2020, and he continues to lie to the American people now. The Bidens have received millions of dollars from China. It is inconceivable that the president did not know it. The White House refuses to correct the president's statements, showing the president is now using the federal government to run interference for his families and his own role in these schemes.
Now you know why the Biden administration has unleashed a special counsel against Donald Trump. Now you know why the Democrat Party has unleashed 2 district attorneys against Donald Trump. Because they know Joe Biden has a problem.